Okay, so hello everyone, welcome back. Simone is here. So today we are going to have brewing coffee experience, and you will see there are two cameras at the moment in the Zoom chat. I want to show you obviously here the workbench where I have the scale and I have the AeroPress and I have the coffee. Sorry. And then the other side, which I'm going to show you after, it's where I have the grinding machine and I have the kettle for the brewing temperature. Let's start to have a look to the coffee that we have over here. It's produced or is roasted from Patio, which is in Adelaide, and it's single origin Ethiopia and is heirloom variety. Heirloom variety and natural process. For who's not familiar, you have the cherries left under the sun for a long period of time, dry out, sorted, and then they go to a sort of friction molding place where the pulp get removed, and you have a coffee bean. Coffee bean is green, and from that step, became a product that gets sold overseas, and it's then roasted from purchased and roasted from roasters. It's like having um, grape growers and wineries, exactly the same. The difference is that grape growers, they provide the fruit directly when it's ripe to the winery, while the coffee growers, they provide the seeds. There are other processes we'll speak about another time, which is the washed process and the honey process, that is a sort of midway. There is also carbonic process, which is another way to do it. So there are many other different ways of setting the cherries from the fruit to the coffee, the green coffee. Now, what else we want to say about? Well, the region where this is coming from, which is Irga Cafe, if you want to say. Irga Cafe, I want to show you. It's located in, is here, this side of Ethiopia. I don't know much about Ethiopia, apart than the coffee, it's originally coming from that area, unknown to me, but I like to know where things that I'm tasting are coming from, a sort of reference for the future. Um, I also advise you to watch a video, which is, if you're interested to, which is natural coffee processing. And then you can have a look and it's going to explain you how the natural coffee process works. Anyway, let's go back to our coffee testing, coffee brewing and testing. So the important things, or first thing it maybe is interesting to know about the variety is the heirloom. It's a common definition for old um, old coffee varieties. However, it's used for unknown. I mean, everyone is saying heirloom when it's something traditionally used in that specific area. Often they don't even know which is the variety, they say heirloom. And if we want to have a look a little bit on another interesting thing, so we are seeing um, the family of the coffee. So the Rubiaceae are the family, and then you have a different, you have the Liberica, you have the Canephora. Canephora is where a Robusta coming from. So we are used to have, especially in Italy, but now it's changing. We are used to have Robusta variety into our coffee. The main difference, if you want to say, between the two varieties is that Arabica is higher quality and then has much more complexity. Robusta is cheaper to produce. It grows at lower altitudes, therefore is again cheaper to produce, and it gives the boost of chocolate, and often it's used to decrease the cost of the product. Now, if we have a look over here, because it's kind of interesting, we have a kind of roots over here. This is the roots of varieties that the DNA is recognized and named, they are originally from Ethiopia. So we start from Ethiopia because of where the plant is coming from. Then we have the Yemen root. That is because, so the Yemen is located on the other side of Ethiopia. There is the Yemen, and it's where the coffee began its journey. So it moved from Ethiopia to Yemen. In Yemen, they had a lot of merchants, and French people brought the coffee uh, from the Yemen to the Bourbon Island, which is down south Africa, close by Madagascar. It now has a different name, by the way. And so you see that the fact that these coffee beans have been moved from different areas, they create and mutated in a different products. As actually bourbon, it's created new series of mutations. So that is really interesting. And heirloom as variety is not mentioned over here because everything it could be here, if it's not recognized and is like 100 years or more than is located in that specific area, it's mentioned as an heirloom. Well, I think what is left to do, oh, the other interesting thing for many people that not know about coffee, it's the altitude. So the Arabica, the plant, the coffee, grows at higher altitudes. We're speaking about between 1,900 to 2,400 meters above the sea level. And they grow at that altitude. And another cool thing, and not many people know about is the caffeine inside in the coffee beans are it's used from the plant as antifreeze. When the plant has a period of frosts, uses this caffeine as a form of protection and consumes this so a higher altitude, lower caffeine. Also, another thing that we know is, and that it works also for wine too, is the higher altitude, lower level of sun, lower level of sun, lower level of sugar, higher level of acidity, higher level of, because acidity is just, it became sugar during the ripening process, acid. So because you have these, you have higher acidity, which helps to create flavors in your cup, that they are floral, fruity, citrusy, more citrusy and floral. Fruity, it's coming from when you have the ripeness. I had a look to the coffee beans, and I actually found out in the coffee beans some pergamino left. The pergamino is the thin, I don't know if you can see it, probably I can change now. Uh, the, the pergamino, it's the little skin that grows on the seeds. You can see that. So it's interesting that there is some pergamino left. Generally, it comes off during the roasting process. The seeds are, well, I can say that there are some that they are roasted slightly bit darker than others. So there are two main colors. I don't know if you can see them. There are two main colors in these seeds. And yeah, I think it's pretty difficult to find, to have a super even roasting color. But we are not speaking about a heavily roasted coffee over here. Even the size is kind of small. So I'm interested to figure it out. And there are also, oh, that's interesting. I found some pea berries. Pea berries are seeds in the cherry that they grow up. One side seed grows up full rounded. And that's also another thing, because they generally get collected and separated if you have time, because they roast in a different way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this recipe. I don't know much about this specific coffee. I've been asking for a recipe, but I did not have any answer yet. So I will maybe do that, I give you again. what I'm doing is 10 grams, which it's already done over here, already set up 10 grams. And I'm gonna do aeropress extraction. I'm gonna do a couple minutes of extraction, and I'm going to have bit more intensity in the extraction on 95 degrees temperature. So what I have the Beville or grinder. I've set it on 20. This is another thing that I'm trying to figure it out, because what they do, they keep speaking about grinding for espresso, grinding for filter coffee, and the numbers on the Breville, but it doesn't say anything. I mean, I'm trying to figure it out if there is a connection with size, because I believe it is, because that will be really cool to refer. What they say is from 0 to 25, it's for espresso. Then they have percolator. Well, AeroPress, it should be on a little bit more coarse, coffee than espresso. So what I'm gonna do, I set it up for 20 size, I don't know. And now I'm gonna grind it. Also, I'm gonna start the coffee. Sorry if I'm in the middle. Coffee, I have set up for 95 degrees, and it's the best time for me when I set up the coffee. Just have a nice smell on the coffee, fresh grinded. It's like when you have the smell in the in the wine before you're gonna taste it. You grind it, and then you have this. And then I have chocolate. I have, which is a bit of a classic. I have some cherry, some, you can say some, not cherry jam. These are ripe cherries. Okay, so let's measure, because what I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna use a reverse technique. A reverse technique that allow me to have a longer extraction time. Longer extraction time. We're still having 10 grams, obviously. Yep. That's allow me to leave the coffee longer in the AeroPress, because the problem is that if I'm going to use AeroPress as a standard style, which is on the other way around, soon I start to put the water in, the coffee will start to pour out from the other side, which is something at this stage I don't want to do. Now, unfortunately, I ran out of the paper filters from the AeroPress, so I've been setting up my sort of homemade filter, and I've been watering it, I've been cleaning it, because obviously being not designed for be a filter for the AeroPress, it has a lot of flavors coming from the paper. Still, again, not sure, 100% sure if it's something that can be a problem or not. While the water is finishing to boil, I'm going just to open up my timer over here. We are going to measure the timing. Okay, so we are at 95 degrees. We're going to start the game. Hopla. Let's start straight away. And here you are. I'm going to pour 200 milliliters. Wow. Okay, a little bit too much, 202 milliliters. The froth, the cream came out really well. I'm surprised. I've been using it. The last time probably I did the mistake to use too thin grinded coffee. It was around the 10 on the Breville. The standard for the AeroPress is shown, it's 1 minute. I'm not gonna obviously wait 1 minute. I'm gonna wait more than 1 minute. I'm gonna put my filter over here. Yeah, obviously all we see probably here is pressing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave the infusion up to now, and then I'm gonna start to pour. Here you are. I wanna do even pouring. I don't wanna do a hard pouring because I don't wanna have too much of, as you can see, the coffee powder, it's left on the bottom, and we have 53 seconds. Is perfect. These are 2 minutes extraction. No one less, no one more. Lovely. And I will give you a quick description. So yeah, suddenly the paper is still there, even though it's less intense. So this is my favorite mug, which is a GMG Moto Guzzi, my motorbike that is still in Bulgaria, my missing one. Here we are, the true moment. Okay, so it's much better than the coffee that I made yesterday. We have subtle cherry and chocolate. I have to say that ratio 200 milliliters, 10 grams, maybe they are not enough. I should do probably less water or more coffee powder. It's just because you have the aromas, and then you have suddenly the bitterness, which is the last part of the extraction, that it comes in quite strong. Definitely I've been doing a better extraction this time in terms of the primary flavors. So you have a little bit of acidity, which is, it's really what I'm looking for. I was looking in this coffee because as many of you know, the coffee from Ethiopia, they are not the chocolatey ones classic from Brazil. Yeah, still not the best. I'm looking for a better outcome for the next brewing, not the next brewing session. This is going to be done tomorrow. I'm going to maybe send out a couple advices. I will probably reduce the amount of water for the brewing. I want to stay on to 10 grams. That's mainly for one specific motive, which is I like use the resources at the best outcome possible. I don't like overuse, and I'm not the person that drink one full cup of coffee as this size. So I'm an espresso person, and then for me, after 4 or 5 sips, I ended my interest in coffee. So I reduce instead an increased amount of coffee grinded. But yeah, definitely much better than the last one. And now I'm gonna move on my breakfast, which is something is not interesting for you to see, but I just finished up baking some lovely bread. And I'm gonna have my eggs with, oh, this is another experiment that I'm doing at the moment, which is, you can see, ooh, still steaming. So this is a mix of self-raising flour. Yeah, I can see that it's too thick, need to raise more. I'm doing a mix of between self-raising flour and sourdough. So I have yeast flour and the raising agent, and I like to see what's happened because I like that the aging, the raising agent helps to fluff up things, but also I'm like first the fermentation flavor that makes more complexity is also the crust to me comes better, and and also the fact that there are less sugars inside in bread. I'm not used to have sweet breads like there are over here. So okay.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed the video. It was really fun to make it, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make it again with obviously with other coffees, because I really like it. It's really fun, and yes, this is the 2 minutes, 10 grams, 95 degrees water, and there was 150 milliliters instead than 200 milliliters I was saying before. Unfortunately, my palate is completely gone after the first coffee that I had, which I had the chance to taste more. Now it's getting more difficult for me to get all the variation inside. So I can find now a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of toffee, and a little bit of cherry, but it's not like before. Yeah, definitely you have to rinse your mouth properly, your palate, with good water when you taste another time. And yeah, interesting. So I hope that you enjoyed, and see you again next time here on the platform Agri Adventures. Have a good day.